This is Badass Soul Session number 6, and today I'm going to be talking about crystals, and not only kind of the woo-woo aspect of crystals, but the science behind crystals and why they work, how you can use them in your life, and how to choose which crystal might be the best crystal for you in support of you. And so if you all have seen me train before or talk about things before, you know that I really like to bring together the woo-woo aspect, so to speak, with the science behind it, because I think a lot of us have a hard time maybe believing that things are real if we can't taste, touch, see, feel them. And so a lot of the things having to do with crystals, you can't taste, touch, feel. We hear that there's been a lot of talk, and we hear a lot that they help with protection and with healing mental and physical pain and with helping us manifest the things that we want in our lives. However, how the hell do they do that? It's a crystal. So I really want to talk about sort of the quantum physics behind why they work and how they do support us. And so to start out, I want to talk about so first of all, really quickly, I just want to let you know crystals have just kind of been something that I've personally been interested in, and the interest has grown as of late. And anything that I become really interested in, I kind of delve into 100%. And so I've just been reading and studying a lot recently about crystals because I wanted to wrap my mind around why I felt really drawn to them and how I felt like they were helping me manifest more quickly, or even to protect my energy field. And so one of the women that I've been paying attention to is Hibiscus Moon, is her spiritual name. But the reason that she started using that name originally was because she was a chair of the science of a college, the chair on the board of a chair. My English, holy moly. She was a chair of the science department at a college. And so at that time, years ago, it wasn't really that PC to be talking about crystals and be teaching physics and on the chair of a department at a college. And so she started teaching kind of under this name so that she could really follow what her passion was, and still also teach at the college that she was teaching at. And so just FYI, that's where I'm getting some of my information. So it's coming from a person who's very driven by science, but also really believes in sort of the intentions and how they can support us in our intentions. And so I want to start out by just sharing the difference between us as humans and crystals. And so as humans, in our body as a human, we have a vibrational frequency. However, we have to just take an average vibrational frequency as a human, because every organ in our body vibrates at a different frequency. So our brain vibrates at a different frequency than our heart, vibrates at a different frequency than our liver, than our kidneys. And this is happening because basically that differentiates each organ from another. And so each organ has a different job in our body, and so it vibrates at a different frequency based on its job. However, our vibrational frequency as a human is extremely unstable, meaning that we are easily influenced in our environment, and so our frequency changes consistently and constantly every day based on what's happening in our environment. So if somebody in your life is in a really shitty mood and they walk into your environment, that can impact the vibrational frequency that you are vibrating at. Or if you are totally stressed or overwhelmed or having a really shitty day, that's going to change your vibrational frequency. So in general, as humans, our vibrational frequency is very unstable. It's very disorganized. It can be very dysregulated. If we go through a trauma, our nervous system gets very dysregulated and unorganized. And so everything in our environment basically is constantly having an influence of where we are on the emotional spectrum and what we are vibrating at. So hopefully this is making sense to me, people. Please, if you're watching the replay or if you're on right now, drop comments or questions. If I can't answer them, I will do my best to answer them, and if I can't, I will find out for you, because again, I'm kind of on this educational journey with crystals right now for myself. So we are unstable. And so unlike us, crystals are extremely stable. So they have a regular geometric pattern, which creates a molecular structure that is extremely organized, and it's not random. And so because their molecular structure is extremely organized, they have an extremely strong vibration that they send out, and that helps to amplify and entrain any of us that are around it. So they literally are the most stable piece of matter on the planet that they have found so far. Hey Rosalie, welcome. So hopefully this is making sense. We are unstable. The crystals are extremely stable because of the pattern that it has. It's like looking at a snowflake. A snowflake has a perfect pattern to it. Crystals also have this perfect pattern. And so they work as an amplifier. So when you think of an amplifier in a band, an amplifier for music, basically what that is doing is it is amplifying the energy of the music so that the music is louder. And so that is exactly what crystals are doing. They are amplifying the energy that they are receiving, and it's like a bullhorn out to the universe. So this is not to say that if you put a crystal in your home, that it is going to instantly change your life, that it is going to entrain you to it and life is going to be amazing, you're going to be happy all the time, you're going to manifest everything that you desire. That is not what they do. They are used specifically as a tool, as a support system to amplify the intentions that you are setting in your life. So it always goes back to, and if you have watched me at all, you have heard me say 10 million times that alignment has to come before action. And so again, this is no different. This is no different than anything else. This is no different than taking action in your business. This is no different than trying to change your emotional system. You have to align first. So the best way to use crystals is to tune into that radio station that I always talk about, of like tuning into Potential FM, coming into alignment. So sit in a quiet place, try to go into a meditative state where your brain waves are going into that alpha state, so that you are coming into alignment. And when we are coming into alignment, what that means is that our organs, our whole emotional and internal physical system starts to be in as much harmony as possible. So that the average frequency that we're having, that average is really close. All of the brain, the liver, everything is working as closely together as possible and being as stable as possible. So we are tuned in to that radio station of Potential FM. And then you are setting the intention very clearly of what it is that you desire, right? Setting very clearly what that desire is. And this is how we manifest too, how I've taught about manifesting. And then you are going to visualize what it would be like to already have that. And then that crystal is going to amplify that desire out to the universe. So basically it helps to speed things up. But again, it always comes back to having clarity, being clear, and being aligned first. And then that crystal can help to amplify that intention. So it's not just buying a crystal at the store and plopping it down in your house and hoping that's going to change your life. You have to get into alignment first. Always alignment before action. So how do you pick a crystal? So when you go into a store, every crystal is going to have a different vibration, just like we have a vibration. Everything in the world has its own vibration. So each crystal has its own vibration, and that is based on the molecular composition of it. It's based on the size of it, the thickness of it, and it's based on the color of it. And so I want to talk briefly about color, because that, like as humans, that's one of the things that we can see immediately that helps to let us know what frequency it's vibrating at. Because when we look at color, color is a sign of what frequency it is. So for example, when you are looking at a rainbow, the red, the orange, the yellow, the green, the blue, the purple, the different colors mean that is literally our way of seeing what frequency that's vibrating at. So every color is a different cycle per second. So for instance, as we change seeing red to orange, that has a different cycle per second that the wave is going through. So for example, when you see the color red, that color, the wavelength is very long. So it has a longer between the top and the bottom of the wave, and the wave moves more slowly. Whereas when we see purple at the opposite end of the rainbow, that wave is going much shorter and faster. And so those colors actually even align to the chakra system. So purple is at our third eye, and red is at our root chakra. And sorry about that, I got a call. And so the colors of the crystals, that's an easy way. This is a very generalized way, but if you want to kind of have a generalized way of deciding what crystal might work for where you want to work on within yourself, you look at the color of the crystal that matches up with the color of the chakra system. So for example, if you want to work on your connection to your higher self, or connection to the divine, or your intuition, you're gonna pick out a color crystal that's purple. Or if you're wanting to work on your voice, having a strong voice and saying what you want to say, you're gonna get a crystal that has to do with the throat chakra, or a blue crystal. So hopefully that's making sense. That's a generalized way of looking at picking the color matching up with the chakra system. And mostly though, I would say that when you go into a crystal store, rather than looking in a book and trying to read about what that crystal means, because in my experience, many of the books contradict one another, go with your heart, go with your intuition, and allow that to lead you to the crystal that you desire. So for example, I went to a new yoga studio the other day for the first time, and I walked in and there was crystals everywhere, so I was super excited because I'm like obsessed with crystals right now. And I walked in, and this crystal literally pulled me through the door. It was sitting in this little corner of the yoga studio, and my eyes met it, and immediately I knew that that was the crystal that I was drawn to. And I put it in my hands and literally like got chills all over my body. So rather than necessarily trying to find the crystal that has the meaning that you want it to have, like go into the shop and just be drawn to whatever one is calling your name. I find that is, in my experience, that's been the best match for me. And then you can always go and read about them as well, and just, you know, have sort of that idea if that feels good to you too. I just want to look at my notes and see if I'm missing anything. So one fun thing that you can try, and this will kind of give you a sense of how crystals, how they impact different things. Water is a great resource because it easily imprints. And so if one thing that's really fun that you can do, if you get a quartz crystal, so it's like one of these clear ones, they're a great one to get because it is an amplifier. That is its job, is to amplify any of the energy of the crystals around it. And they're fairly inexpensive. because there's a lot of them out there in the world. So take a clear quartz crystal, and take 2 glasses of water, and make sure you wash it first, because you never know where the crystals have been after you buy them. Take the quartz crystal and put it in a glass of water, and then have another glass of water that's just doesn't have anything in it, and let the crystal sit in there for about 15-20 minutes or so, and then smell and taste the difference between the crystal water, the gem water that has the crystal in it, and the plain water that came out of your tap or whatever. And you will notice a difference immediately in the taste and the smell, because it is literally increasing the vitality of the water. It is imprinting, it is entraining the water to its vibration. So that's one really cool way to check it out. And it's also, water is such a beautiful example of what the crystal is actually doing in our own system, because we are mostly made up of water. So we are always entraining to the crystals around us. So go ahead and just play around with it. Be curious about what crystal you're needing in your life that would help to support you with your goals or your physical health or your mental health, because literally, if we start creating and setting those intentions and then holding these and having these amplify those intentions, we can create greater mental health, greater physical health, manifest things more quickly, protect our energy fields. Whatever it is that you are asking for, the crystals will help support you in that. So go ahead and play around with them. They're so fun, they're so beautiful, and they're amazing. They're a million, sometimes 1 billion years old, some of the crystals that you will play around with. So if you have questions, please feel free to message me or reach out. Again, if I don't have the answer, I will be happy to try to find out, because I am just starting this, deepening into this educational journey with crystals, just mostly because I just think they're really cool personally. And they're beautiful, and I've been having fun. Oh, one other thing also that you can do too is you can just get the smaller stones of the crystals, just the little ones, and those can be just $4 or $5, $6. And again, those have the same geometric structure, so even though they're small, and you can put them under your pillow at night, so that is the energy, that's the time that we really go into those subconscious waves when we are sleeping, into the alpha theta waves as you're sleeping. So if you have certain intentions that you're wanting to set at night, align those with the little crystals and stick them under your pillow as you sleep. And I have had some really incredible, amazing things happen as I've just started doing that recently. A friend of mine suggested, who's a Reiki master, suggested that I do that, and she does that. And I've had some really, really cool experiences since that's been happening, especially when I try to align that color crystal or whatever intention that I'm setting for my next day. If I put those particular crystals under my pillow, it's amazing some of the things that align the next day that absolutely had to do with the intentions that I set, and how those crystals magnified that, especially in that subconscious state, because we're so much more open in that subconscious state as we're sleeping than when our ego, in the beta waves, when our ego starts to take over during the day. So if you have any questions, if you know other people who would be interested in this, please feel free to share this out. It's a really cool topic, and I love the science aspect behind why it is that they're actually working versus just maybe, believing in the more of the just people saying, oh, they're crystals, they just work. So if you have any questions, let me know, but otherwise I will see you all next week. I hope you have an amazing day. Talk to you soon. Thank you all.